What if I told you that the secret to becoming wealthy is not a high-paying job, not a lucky investment, and not even starting a successful business, but simply controlling your daily financial habits? Think about that for a second. Every day, millions of people wake up, go to work, earn money, and still struggle financially. They feel stuck. They feel like no matter how hard they try, they just can't get ahead. But at the same time, there are people with average incomes quietly building wealth in the background. No flashy lifestyle, no big risks, just steady progress. So what separates these two groups? It's not intelligence, it's not opportunity, it's discipline. Financial discipline is one of the most underrated forces in the world of money. It does not look exciting, it does not go viral on social media, and it definitely does not give instant results. But over time, it changes everything. Here's the reality most people do not want to accept. Wealth is not built in one big moment. It is built in small decisions you make every single day. The decision to save instead of spend. The decision to invest instead of consume. The decision to wait instead of buying instantly. Now imagine this, you get your salary this month. Before you even think about spending, you set aside a portion for savings and investments. No excuses, no delays. Then you control the rest of your spending carefully. If you repeat this simple behavior every single month for the next 5 or 10 years, your financial life will look completely different. But here is where most people fail. They rely on motivation instead of discipline. They say, I will start saving next month. I will invest when I earn more. I will control my spending later. But later never comes, because without discipline, every new income simply creates new expenses, a better phone, a bigger lifestyle, more comfort, more spending, and slowly, without realizing it, they trap themselves in a cycle where they are always earning, but never building wealth. This is why financial discipline is so powerful. It breaks that cycle. It forces you to think long-term. It forces you to act with intention, and most importantly, it puts you in control of your money instead of letting your money control you. And in this video, we're going to uncover how financial discipline really works, why most people struggle to build it, and how you can start applying it today to completely transform your financial future. Because once you understand this, you will realize something important. You do not need to be rich to build wealth, you just need to be disciplined. Here's where most people get it completely wrong. They believe the solution to their financial problems is simple. Earn more money. It sounds logical. If you make more, you should have more, right? But in reality, this belief is one of the biggest traps in personal finance, because earning more money does not automatically make you wealthier. In fact, for many people, it just makes them better spenders. Let's break this down. Imagine someone gets a salary increase. At first, it feels like progress. More income means more freedom. But what usually happens next? They upgrade their lifestyle. They move to a better apartment. They start eating out more often. They buy a new phone. Maybe even take on a bigger loan. Within a few months, their expenses rise to match their new income, and just like that, they are back to where they started. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it quietly destroys financial progress. The more you earn, the more you spend, and the cycle never ends. Now here's the deeper problem. Most people do not track their money. They do not plan their spending, and they definitely do not think long-term. Money comes in, money goes out. There is no system, no structure, no discipline, and because of that, even small financial leaks turn into big problems over time. Another major issue is emotional spending. People do not always spend based on need. They spend based on feelings. They spend when they are stressed. They spend when they are bored. They spend to reward themselves. A tough day at work turns into online shopping. A small achievement becomes an excuse to overspend. These decisions feel harmless in the moment, but repeated over time, they destroy your ability to build wealth. Then there is social pressure. We live in a world where everyone is constantly showing their best life. Expensive vacations, luxury items, perfect lifestyles, and without realizing it, people start trying to keep up. They spend money they do not have to impress people who do not care. This creates a dangerous illusion. It looks like everyone is doing well financially, but behind the scenes, many are living paycheck to paycheck. And finally, there is the biggest problem of all, lack of patience. People want results fast. They want to see immediate growth, immediate success, but money does not work like that. Wealth takes time. It requires consistency. And most importantly, it requires discipline. Without discipline, people quit too early. They stop saving. They stop investing. They go back to old habits. So the real problem is not low income. It is a lack of control, lack of awareness, and lack of discipline. And until that changes, no amount of money will ever be enough. So what exactly is financial discipline, and why is it so powerful? At its core, financial discipline is the ability to consistently make the right decisions with your money, even when those decisions feel uncomfortable in the moment. It is not about being perfect. It is about being consistent, and to truly understand it, you need to break it down into a few simple principles. The first principle is control. Financial discipline means you are in control of your money, not the other way around. Most people spend first and think later. Disciplined individuals do the opposite. They think first, plan first, and then spend what is left. They give every dollar a purpose. The second principle is creating a gap. This is the gap between what you earn and what you spend. If you earn 1,000 and spend 1,000, you have nothing left. No savings, no investments, no progress. But if you earn 1,000 and spend 800, that extra 200 becomes your power. That gap is what you use to build wealth. It is what you invest. It is what grows over time. And here is where things get interesting. That small gap, when used consistently, starts to compound. Your savings turn into investments. Your investments start generating returns. And those returns begin to generate even more returns. This is how money begins to grow on its own. The third principle is consistency. Anyone can save money once. Anyone can invest once. But financial discipline is about doing it again and again, month after month, year after year, even when it feels boring, even when you do not see immediate results. Because real wealth is built slowly. Think of it like planting a tree. You do not plant a seed today and expect shade tomorrow. You water it consistently, you take care of it, and over time, it grows into something valuable. Money works the same way. The fourth principle is delayed gratification. This is where most people struggle. It means choosing long-term benefits over short-term pleasure. Instead of buying something you want today, you invest that money for the future. Instead of upgrading your lifestyle, you upgrade your financial position. And this one habit alone can completely change your life, because every time you delay gratification, you are giving your future self more freedom. Now here is the key insight. Financial discipline is not about restriction. It is about intention. You are not saying no to everything. You are simply saying no to things that do not move you forward. And once this mindset becomes part of your daily life, everything starts to change. Your spending becomes smarter. Your savings become consistent. Your investments start growing. And, slowly, without any dramatic changes, your financial life transforms. Now let's make this real, because financial discipline is not just a theory. It shows up clearly in real people's lives, especially when you compare behavior instead of income. Let's start with one of the most famous investors in the world, Warren Buffett. Most people assume Buffett became wealthy because he found secret investments or took huge risks. But the truth is very different. His success is built on discipline, patience, and consistency over decades. Buffett started investing at a very young age, but instead of chasing quick profits, he focused on long-term ownership of strong companies. He did not constantly buy and sell. He did not try to time the market every week. He simply invested in businesses he understood and held them for years, sometimes decades. That is financial discipline in action. Even more interesting is his lifestyle. Despite being one of the richest people in the world, Buffett is known for living far below his means. He does not chase luxury for the sake of status. His focus has always been on building wealth, not displaying it. Now compare this with another powerful example from a completely different background. Ronald Read. Ronald Read was not a CEO. He was not a high-income executive. He worked as a gas station attendant and later as a janitor. On the surface, nothing about his life suggested wealth. But behind the scenes, he had one powerful habit: discipline. He lived extremely frugally. He saved consistently, and he invested his money quietly in the stock market over many years. No flashy strategies, no high-risk bets, just patience and discipline. When he passed away, people discovered something shocking. He had accumulated millions of dollars in wealth. A janitor who lived a simple life ended up wealthier than many high-income professionals. Now think about what this really tells us. It is not about how much you earn. It is about how you behave with what you earn. One person uses discipline to turn time into wealth. Another person uses income to fuel lifestyle inflation. And over time, the gap between them becomes massive. These examples prove something very important: financial discipline is not reserved for the rich. It is actually the reason people become rich in the first place, and it is available to anyone who is willing to stay consistent, think long-term, and control their financial habits. Because in the end, wealth is not a sudden event. It is the result of repeated disciplined decisions over time. So what is the real takeaway from all of this? It is simple, but powerful. Financial success is not determined by how much money you earn. It is determined by how well you manage the money you already have. And that is where financial discipline becomes the deciding factor. Let's break this into clear lessons you can actually apply. First lesson: income does not solve undisciplined behavior. If someone cannot manage $500 properly, they will not magically manage $5,000 properly. Higher income without discipline only increases the scale of financial mistakes. More spending, more debt, more pressure. So instead of chasing more income first, the real priority is building control over your current income. Second lesson: wealth is built in silence. Real financial progress does not look impressive in the beginning. It is not flashy. It is not loud. It is not visible on social media. It looks like saying no to unnecessary spending. It looks like consistent saving. It looks like investing small amounts repeatedly over time. Most people ignore these small actions because they feel too slow, but this is exactly where wealth is created. Third lesson: discipline beats motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Some days you feel inspired. Some days you do not. If your financial future depends on motivation, you will always struggle. But discipline does not rely on feelings. It relies on systems and habits. You do it even when you do not feel like it. You save even when it is boring. You invest even when progress feels slow. And over time, that consistency becomes powerful. Fourth lesson: time is your biggest asset. Financial discipline is not just about money. It is about time. The earlier you start, the more powerful the results become. Because of compounding, small disciplined actions today can turn into massive outcomes in the future. But the opposite is also true. Lack of discipline over time leads to financial stress, no matter how high the income is. So the real question is not how much do you earn. The real question is how long can you stay disciplined? Because time multiplies everything. Good habits become great wealth. Bad habits become financial struggle. And finally, the most important lesson: you do not need a perfect financial situation to start. You do not need more money. You do not need better opportunities. You only need control over your current behavior. Because once discipline becomes your default setting, everything else starts to align. Your spending becomes intentional. Your saving becomes automatic. Your investing becomes consistent. And slowly, without dramatic changes, your financial life starts moving in a completely different direction. That is the real power of financial discipline. Now here is the most important question you need to ask yourself after understanding all of this. Are you actually going to apply it? Because financial discipline is not something you learn once and benefit from automatically. It is something you build through daily decisions. And right now, you are standing at a simple crossroads. One path is to keep doing what most people do. Earn money, spend it, repeat the cycle, and hope things somehow get better in the future. The other path is to take control, to become intentional with your money, to start building discipline step by step, even if it feels uncomfortable at the beginning. And the truth is, the difference between these two paths is not knowledge. It is action. You already understand the idea now. You already know why discipline matters. You already know how wealth is actually built over time. But knowing is not enough, because nothing changes until behavior changes. So start small. This week, track your spending. Just observe where your money is actually going. Then ask yourself one simple question every time you are about to spend money. Do I need this, or do I just want this right now? That one question alone can completely change your financial awareness. Next, set a simple rule for yourself. Save something from every income you receive. No matter how small, even if it is a small amount, the habit is what matters most. Because discipline is not built through big dramatic actions. It is built through small consistent choices. And over time, those choices compound into something powerful. A more stable financial life. Less stress, more freedom, and more control over your future. But here is something important to remember. You do not have to be perfect. You will make mistakes. You will overspend sometimes. You will break your own rules occasionally. That is normal. Financial discipline is not about perfection. It is about direction. As long as you are moving in the right direction, you are already ahead of most people. Now, if this video helped you understand how money really works and how discipline shapes financial success, then do not stop here. Keep learning, keep improving, keep building better habits. And if you want to understand more ideas like this in a simple and practical way, then subscribe to The Geeky Investor, because here, we do not just talk about money, we break down how money actually works in the real world, and your journey toward financial discipline starts now.